convolve is basically, I'll show you with an input signal and then flip the signal. So what it basically is trying to do is, you can, let's say we have a new baby born. You do not let the baby grow itself, right? You try to teach something through it so you can actually get some output. The same way, you flip the signal, now move it to the desired time or desired output which you already know or which you need. So, and then accumulate every interaction, because right now we see, like, every time we try to take everything into records. So we just try to save every record, because you have to remember to improve, right? You cannot actually go through, you cannot improve without knowing what your previous values are. So that is basically what convolution is. It is trying to do all of this in a single equation. And so this is how it looks. So this is a filter. This is a filter. And it is going through an image. And if you know, an image is basically pixels. So as I said, it's an RGB pixel. So this is a filter. Now it's just going through the image, and then what is happening is, so now it's actually much more clear for me to understand. Let's say this is an image, and this is possible because the range of an image value, RGB image 0 to 255, right? 0 to 255. So you have this matrix, any image, and let's say if the matrix is all zeros, what does it mean? What kind of image it is? Yes, exactly. It basically means a black image, black color image. And if all of them are white, or 255 in this case, it's a white image. But in real world, you do not have perfect images. You have values in between. Now you have a filter. So how the convolution happens is, you basically multiply this filter over this window. So since the filter is always smaller than the whole image, why? As I explained, water filter. The holes in the water filter have to be smaller to get purer water, right? Does that make sense? It makes sense, right? Because if the holes are as big as the water that is coming in, as your tap holes, the water filter is useless. There's no need for the water filter now. So to get purer values, and in machine learning or deep learning, this is called important features. To get important features, the filter is always smaller than the original image. Okay, now this is basically going through the whole window. So you get these, it moves to the right, and then it comes down, it covers this. So you can see here how it's happening, and you get the values. Now everyone understand how convolution in images work now, and this concept can be applied to signals also. So this signal, each signal can be convolved over another signal. The original filter signal has to be smaller though. Okay. Okay, so this is basically, if I say a grayscale image, when you write 8, for the computer it looks this way. This is how the computer sees it. So you take a picture. Now what is happening is, in your phone, in a text file, this is being stored. But to you, it just shows the image of an 8. But this is what's happening. So I just wanted to show you, because now we will actually be dealing with real world examples, real world data. And you can see how it affects other signals also. I will talk about other signals later. Yeah, so Now, when people say feature map, now you are getting features. Now, a feature map is basically, so this is a filter, it runs through everything. This is a feature map. So why is this important? Now this is like a face, right? So you see people drawing celebrities' faces. So when you notice people drawing celebrities' faces, they don't draw them exactly. They only draw certain features the celebrities have, right? So why do they do that? Because there are some unique features to everyone. You can identify unique features in everything. You can identify unique features in any problem, but identifying them is important first. That is what filters do. So whenever you see something which is not able to do, so let's just say I write an algorithm to find out if a bottle is it has alcohol or not, just based on the picture, if it is alcohol or not, and it is failing. Now in these two places, where do you think the algorithm is failing? So where is the issue? Can anyone guess? Anyone give a solution? Where am I failing? What is the most important thing? Kernel. Exactly. So if you don't choose a proper kernel like this, you will not get proper features like this. So now identifying this kernel is deep learning. Giving this kernel to an image is machine learning. You already go through a lot of data, you find out this is the best kernel, and you give, okay, let the image go through everything. That is machine learning. But now when I come to deep learning, even the filters, even these individual filters, the deep learning takes care of it. So that is convolution. Now I want to actually make a whole algorithm on these, identifying these signals and then actually detecting them and actually classify them. So now we have to construct what is called a convolutional neural network. So this is basically, now we come to identifying, I think the internet is wrong. One second. So yeah, convolution neural network, because now we actually have to find out the features there are in between and identify linear transformations and then do something. Now convolution I've already discussed. After getting the input, we do convolution and then we do some activation at sigmoid. But you have to remember, from earlier, this is still linear transformation. So what does linear transformation mean? So linear transformation is basically, you're still trying to, the dimension is still the same. So when I change the image data to convolutional features or convolutional data here, this is still a matrix, right? This is still a matrix which is still in one dimensional or two dimensional. The dimension is not changing still. We have to decrease or increase the dimension. So that is why we need something called as non-linear transformations, or in this case non-linear activations, because we have to change the dimensions to actually understand what's happening. So this is basically, you see when people draw house plans, a good example. When people draw house plans, what do? They, even before giving you the building the house, they give you a top-down view, they give you a side view, right? So that is basically what nonlinear transformation is. They are not actually building the house and asking you what to change. They are giving you something in a different dimension in an already 2D, 3D dimension. Because now you understand better, right? You understand what's happening better. So that is why we need non-linear transformations. So that's basically correlation with how the real world works. The house plans is basically the nonlinear transformation, and that is what I'm trying to say. All of these problems in signal processing, in machine learning, everything, in civil, in anything. So they are basically in one dimension. You try to look at them from different dimensions. So now you actually can solve the problem. Sometimes just changing the dimensions is enough. But you don't know which to use. So these are generally what people are currently using. ReLU, TALH, sigmoid functions. So these are basically some nonlinear activation functions which people use to change the dimensions or increase the dimensions to make them nonlinear. Same thing. I just focus. So whenever you see convolution neural network, this is the image that you're going to see in everywhere. So you see convolutions, you see pooling. So pooling, and then you see flattening. So this flattening is generally done at the end of a convolution layer. Now you see, now we are actually coming back to signal processing, where people try to convert everything into a signal now. But now this is done at the end of a convolution neural network. But before that, all the processing, reprocessing has to be done. So whenever you see this image, remember that this is happening. So now you can mentally understand whenever you see this image everywhere, when you type CNNs or when you type convolution or machine learning, you see this image. So that's basically what's happening in the background.
Why you are applying sigmoid function model? It will change that. Two times you are applying.
Right here?
Before
Okay, so this is basically an example of a reconstruction method. Yeah, so this was, I remember it's a reconstruction algorithm. So it's generally autoencoders. So generally the advantage, there are some layers, some specific networks now in machine learning and deep learning, where there are some already different structures of convolution neural network. Sometimes there are multiple sigmoids, multiple ReLU, multiple linear transformations. It depends on what you want. It depends on what features you're trying to extract. So from this example, so this is one example I'm trying to show. From this feature map, this is what happens when I get the maximum pixel values. This is what I get the sum of all pixel values. And to get the maximum, I do max pooling, or as I do, like sigmoid over all the data. It depends on what features you're trying to extract. That is why this is a very unique skill or very unique knowledge to have, because there is no specific CNN to solve a specific problem. Every problem has to be started from the scratch. Okay. Sorry.
Is it that for reconstruction problem, for at the output the inverse function has to be used?
Inverse is has to be used, but sometimes what people do is they generally use the same number of inputs and outputs because the nodes take in the same information. So an inverse can be used, but if there are multiple nodes taking input at the same time, then the output has to have multiple nodes. So yeah, I think you can say inverse has to be used. Okay, now I've talked about convolution, but if you see from all the problems which I talked about, all the research I've done, there was one thing that I noticed. There was one thing that I noticed. All of them used convolutional neural networks. All of them used machine learning, deep learning algorithms. And so this was the common theme in every algorithm, everything I have tried to use, everything was trying to have a filter and everything was trying to get it. So you see the issue. So there was some glaring issue because even extracting these features, is it not obvious that you are losing original data? You are losing original data, right? So let's say I give an image of 10 MB in our phone and you are compressing it to 5 MB or 1 MB. You lose the resolution or the sharpness of the picture, right? Definitely. Or even an image taken and then you send it through WhatsApp. If you download that image, it is less sharp than the original image taken. Because WhatsApp does this internally. It applies a certain filter, reduces the resolution. Now, anytime there is compression happening, there is data lost. And sometimes this data is dangerous because that is where you can actually slide in. So, if there is a person looking like exactly like Chiranjeevi, he looks like Chiranjeevi, he talks like Chiranjeevi. Is it not possible you can go to some places where Chiranjeevi is allowed even without an identity card? Because I'm pretty sure Chiranjeevi is not being asked for ID card everywhere. There are some places where this person can just walk into. That is a similar issue. Imposter syndrome. Imposter. That is happening currently in technology also. When everyone is using these machine learning, deep learning algorithms, even in signal processing, especially in the last 4 years, 3 to 4 years, they are trying to use machine learning to solve certain problems. But there is a big weakness where you can actually completely destroy these algorithms or completely fool these algorithms. Fooling is the accurate word, especially when you read through this literature or try to search through Google. Try to search for fooling machine learning algorithms. And this is the official name for it, adversarial attack. So adversarial noise is basically you are adding some noise, just changing one pixel in an image and then sending to identify, let's say if this is a panda or not. And this was identified in 2019, 2017, where this panda, when multiplied with this image, the image still looked like this, but the result came out as a dog. The result came out as a sofa. The result came out as completely different, even though for the human eye, it looked like a panda. So that is because the information taken out by these kernels, they introduced dog features into these data. And what happened was the algorithm was unable to differentiate that, because you have to remember the algorithm is, even it is trying to think like a brain, it is still trying to do what we are trying to tell it. So when you remove this information and when you add in other information, it is completely fooling. Is everyone clear on why adversarial attack is possible now? Because we talked about filters earlier. Lot of information is lost. In those lost information, if you add in another class, the current machine learning algorithms are unable to solve it. Because they are unable, they don't know. It's because these algorithms were made thinking people are good, people are trying to be honest, but some people are not honest. So they are trying to fool the algorithm. Now this is generally was not noticed earlier. Can anyone guess why? This is a big issue, right? Everyone is using machine learning. But why didn't people try to solve it? What?
Don't get any credit, sir.
No.
Still corrupted.
No. Think more general, real world. There was no damage. There was no money damage. There was nothing. So machine learning was earlier applied to very normal problems, like identifying handwriting. Whose handwriting this is? And if the algorithm says this handwriting is student 2's and not student 3's, is anything happening? Is there any real world damage? No. No one cares. Yeah, plagiarism. That is what it started for. But plagiarism was it's still not a big, it is an issue. There is no damage happening. No real harm. So then people started applying it on drones, on mechanical devices, in industries, in cars. Now the actual issue comes in, right? If a camera in the car identifies a person as nothing, if the camera identifies a person as something, as the road, it will not stop. It will keep going, and accidents will happen, and they did happen. Then, after the self-driving cars had some accidents, people started focusing on it.
How the external will come and modify the algorithm, and they will add some.
Yeah, that's good. I'll show you. So in some cases they don't even need to touch. So I'll talk about the attacks later. So there are basically black box and white box, and the current algorithms are so bad that even in an external image, if you add a patch, that is what my research is based on. I will talk about that paper in the end of my talk. So that is basically adversarial attack, and this is a very big issue. You can see here. See, the original is an Egyptian cat. Add some noise. The prediction is traffic light, and it is saying this is a traffic light. It is not just saying it's a traffic light. It is saying it's a traffic light. 97%. It's saying I'm 97% sure it's a traffic light. And this is a deep learning algorithm. And people will say, oh, your deep learning algorithm, you should be right. But at the end of the day, humans are much more intelligent than machines. This is a good example. Traffic light, traffic light, traffic light.
What are the problems there, sir? What classes are
So they added traffic light classes, traffic light features, from where the information was lost in the filters. So when they add those features in, it still looks like a cat, but it has actually traffic light features inside it. So that is a very big issue now. Same thing, add some noise, completely different. And that is what you need to see here. It is not that the algorithm is saying it's completely different. It is, you can actually control what the output also is. Because this was something which I was able to control. Like, I actually put traffic light features so it detected traffic lights. So imagine now, if there is a camera identifying which person is coming into a bank or which person is coming into a military area, if you install features of yourself, even though you are not allowed, you will be allowed in. So, big security issue. And people don't care. People are using, there are still some areas where people are not aware of adversarial attacks. So this is the next, I would say, even in signal processing. This is a very big, especially in signal processing. Lot of scope for adversarial solutions that you can, I'm pretty sure you can see. Again, this again just how adding saw like noise to it made the algorithm identify as 80. Even though it's a 3, these are all 3, but it's showing 8. 2 showing 6. Again, why does it work? And I've already explained this earlier. Why does it work? But as I said, compression. Anywhere there is compression taking place, that is where adversarial attack can happen. This is a principal rule. Because wherever information is lost, is information which you can fool. So, whatever I tried to tell you in words, this is basically in an equation where any message, I put a message here because this works for signal also. Any signal, you encode some features, you try to get some features through a channel, and this can be through any real number over all the real values, because the values can be decimal also, obviously. You get the decoder. Even after the decoder, the output that you are getting, you think you are reconstructing the signal, but it is not 100% reconstruction. The signal is not 100% being restored. That is what I am trying to say. This will always, the purity value of this will always be less than this. So, same thing. In a classification system, you apply signal y given some input values, output given some input values over all the real numbers. Same thing. The given output, the y is still based on the y given x here, not on the original input x. Same thing. So again, it's similar thing I tried to show it in a flowchart. So I talked about, now I come to my issue, identifying multiple objects. Now when identifying these multiple objects, what happens is, you need to have, generally what people used earlier was, they tried to use multiple filters for multiple sizes. So it's obvious, right? Because one filter does not work for all sizes, right? Because sometimes some objects are bigger. A truck is bigger than a cycle. So the pixel, the matrix needed to store a truck is bigger than the matrix needed to store a cycle, or a person, or a dog. So if you choose the same kernel, it will not work the same way for other sizes. So this is generally called scale. When people say multi-scale, this is what they mean. It means you are working in multiple scales at the same time. And there are multiple issues when you are trying to solve this. Then there are different backgrounds. The backgrounds are different because the person might have, he might be in front of a road, sometimes he might be in the stairs. Who knows? Low resolution. Sometimes the images that you take are low resolution. You can't do anything after that. So, again, now why on monocular camera source? Why on cameras? So I talk about these because I mostly focused on autonomous vehicles. Because when I was ending my PhD in IIT Hyderabad, they were building autonomous vehicle. They were building a self-driving car. Now it is complete. I think recently, last year, they had a prototype also move around IIT Hyderabad. So when we started out, these were some issues where it had, everything has real world issues now. Accidents happen because, and all even